How my students secure real estate deals every month, month in, month out, and profiting anywhere from $20,000 even through to $100,000 cash, plus with a very creative strategy. Now, for many of you, it's not the first webinar you've done. This is not your first rodeo. The first thing I want to mention, though, is if you failed at investing in property in the past, that's not your fault. Not all real estate is created equal. There's an enormous amount of information out there that can prove to be confusing. Information overload can distance you from success. That's fairly normal. If you've been concerned in the past that you just can't succeed with property, I want to allay those fears. You can do this. You have done things before, like HSC, like a car license. You just need to consider a very different path. If you want to get started in investment around real estate, 2019 is going to be a blistering year. Should you want someone to hold your hand, walk you through the process, and help you secure your first profitable deal without having to settle or use any of your own capital, well, this free webinar may be what you're looking for. What banks want you to think? Well, firstly, governments want banks to think that you need money to build long-term wealth. I'm here to tell you that is a fallacy. They have their own reasons and they want to sell you credit. Why? There's billions of dollars per annum in profits, both for banks, more importantly, the government coffers. If you've ever thought the government banks want you to fail, well, you could probably be right in saying that. They certainly don't benefit from your success. The difference here is that you truly, if you are serious about truly living the life of your dreams or aspirations, if you want to call it that, well, then it seems that you may have found the vehicle to do such. Capital gains tax, interest rates, penalty rates to break loans, income tax. It's just insane the amount of tax on top of tax when you think about traditional investment through real estate. It's problematic. How I want you to consider this. Firstly, look at property options in a very, very different viewpoint. Why? We're here to help you understand this. This is a vehicle that can help you pay down a mortgage, debt, credit cards, start getting you time back, family. It could even be as much as an early retirement plan. Hundreds of my clients have used this methodology and this very route to get them there. During this very webinar, you're going to learn exactly how that comes to be. What to expect. I want you to recognize this presentation is how you really want to approach this. I'm going to open the full book on property investing. With my net worth now reaching nearly $100 million in Australia alone, this is going to be a successful way that you can replicate what I've already done. Not to sound pompous, this is a real-time analysis of exactly the path I've taken. We've been delivering deals with our graduates and partnering, profit sharing with these guys for 15 years now. A decade and a half of my life has been dedicated to this very one strategy. Transparency, what it takes to make it work. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I'm afraid real estate does take time. We know that. The headwinds of that is that you and I have got to be patient at moments. The direct approach, you'll get very much the straight and the skinny with me. It's a no-nonsense approach. I will give you an open toolbox. Why? I profit from your deals. You are in the right place at the right time. The greatest unknown here, well, firstly, options are a tool that have been used for decades. Now, you might think of options in the share market. Take an option over a stock. It means that we've never had to own it. We can never be forced to settle. Well, the same is true of background. You think about the background of an option, it came from the stock market, we apply that to real estate. Real estate means we take an option over a property, we never have to settle, pay stamp duty, capital gains tax, or any form of debt, loan, servicing a mortgage with a lender. There is no interest involved. Why? We have never taken possession or ownership of the asset. If it works for my clients, my past students, I can assure you it will work for you also. Why would you want to listen to me? Well, first and foremost, I've bought, transacted, sold over 3,500 properties in the last 10 years. Massland, we turn over in excess of $150 million per annum. We option properties. We on-sell them to large public companies, both in Australia, offshore. We also develop out in our own workbook in excess of $150 million of live projects on the ground. That's the affordable housing sector, low-end house and land packages, townhouses, flats, industrial lots, all types of residential being affordable, low socio-economic housing solutions, manufactured home parks, mini storage, medical facilities, etc., etc. I did become a decamillionaire at 40. I was privileged enough to back the right horse, being real estate. You may feel the same way. The leveraged strategy of options has allowed me to become a very, very wealthy investor today. I'm reaching out because I sense there is profit between you and I. When you bring the deal, I bring the smarts and the capital. We split the profits on the way out. That's forced me to become Australia's #1 expert on property options. The results, I believe, speak for themselves. This is not about beating my chest. It's not about having to prove anything to you. I think the backstory is very relevant in today, where a lot of people, I think online today, speak a lot of crap and shit, if you want to ask my opinion. This is not my full backstory, but I will give you some insights as we progress. I've hand-produced over 47 millionaires today, with approximately another 30 in the system as we speak. I've created 121 financially independent, financially free families. We've transacted in this country in excess of $311 million of options alone. In our own right, Massland has produced $273.4 million of developments, bricks and mortar on the ground. The deepest story here is just the results that we've created for our students and our clients alike. My goal for you is to understand how to steer your energies into real estate, profit from real estate, but not needing the capital to settle on it. I think the benefit to you is the release of time, working up a better lifestyle, having more freedoms available to you, and really being able to control the destiny that you so choose. 21, I was broke. I was a carpenter, left school at 16. 21, I had become a registered builder, had a small business, and literally was on the verge of bankruptcy. I believe the challenge of small business is 80% of all enterprise fails in the first 5 years. The epiphany for me was when I discovered, and again, I was on the bones of my backside, I was desperate. I discovered that I didn't need to own real estate to profit from it. That was a transformation in thinking. I recognized straight away that I didn't have the $90,000, $125,000 that I needed for stamp duty, deposits, to service a mortgage. I actually didn't. I didn't have that capital available to me. I came across a transaction that really put me on the map financially. I was broke, skint broke, on the verge of bankruptcy, and made myself $42,000 from 6 blocks of land under option in the space of a day. How does that background, or how's that origin really help you? How does that now assist you in making greater progress for yourself? Well, Mark, that's great for you. That doesn't apply to me. Or does it? You know what? It's really about your situation. Where do you want to get to? I believe this solution makes the forward steps or the onboarding of real estate so much more accessible. No longer are we taking a traditional approach of borrow, service debt with after-tax dollars. Servicing debt with after-tax dollars is nothing short of madness. That's why our parents did a 40-year working career and ended up with a house. If they're divorced, maybe 0.5 of a house. Today, the rules of engagement have changed. This makes it faster, far more simple, and easier to navigate. I want the benefits of real estate, i.e. the immediate profits, without the downside risk of ownership. Well, Mark, firstly, I was skeptical, but when I went to the training, I was blown away with the content that was revealed. You think about case study number 1 here, where one of my students, one of my clientele, went from Daniel, where he was sitting in a similar webinar to yourself. The transformation is quite astounding.
At first, I'm not going to lie. So I've gone into the course. The course was amazing, absolutely amazing. Mark himself, very energetic, great person to be around, great energy. I'm a good judge of character, very good judge of character, and I think you can tend to see through people by their eyes, whether they mean things, whether they don't, and he's a very real person, very, very real person. And like I said, I can relate to him in some ways. He's come from a bad background, I've come from a bad background, not in terms of bad background like an upbringing, but in terms of where you started, and he just seems a very humble, very relatable person. And yet after the 3 days I learned so much. I learned a lot to do with real estate, to do with property, and like I said, I can take that away from it. At the end, it just completely changed as a person. I think my whole mentality is shifted on the way that I think in terms of life, in terms of what I think is possible for me, in terms of, I don't know, a lot of things, a lot of good things. The conclave, I was a bit sceptical about that as well. And after seeing proof in the pudding, seeing people that are no different to me, people that are sitting on my table that are currently doing the deals, not even through Mark, but can see that Mark's program works. Totally, it's a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer. And yeah, I believe in the product, I believe in myself, and yeah.
Case study number 2. Here's a young fellow that went from $35 an hour to $3 million of cash in a 9-month window. A shift worker that was frustrated with the idea that he wasn't around his family, never got to see his young daughter, and was always at work. Where she was awake, he was asleep. Their schedules didn't align. The fellow decided, this is the way that I want to make money on the side of my current job.
My name's Rolton. Previous life, I was a registered nurse in the emergency department. That's what I did for a living before this. So basically, when I did the Massland course, I was working full time and doing 12-hour shifts, as well as doing property options. So when I attended the course, I went out and started doing deals. And basically, it was tough because of my shift work and incorporating my time into Massland. I was earning about $35 an hour at the hospital, and as opposed to that, what I made was about $3 million. So my journey throughout that was about 9 months. So Massland has absolutely changed my life. Like from where I was before to where him and his company has brought me to, it is absolutely life-changing. Not just for me, but for my family as well. Okay, so basically the money that I've made with Massland, I have paid off my parents' house with that. I have bought my house outright. I bought myself a new Mercedes-Benz AMG. So these were the aspects that Massland have changed my life from where I was before. I'm currently working on another property option deal, which is similar to my first one. And so that's currently in progress. So basically for my first project that I did, I have perfected it onto my second project. I've learned a lot from that, from working with the council. So I've built my knowledge upon that, and I proceeded to develop further myself. My next project is a similar concept. It is going to be, I am currently working on that one as well, and that should be on Monday, which I'll be focusing on that. And so that's my third one. That one at this stage, roughly with the number crunching, is about 17 million at this stage. After that, whatever the future holds, I guess I'll get to keep working and finding more sites. In 10 years, I'll probably getting into development myself, building high-rises and not just optioning sites, but growing myself and becoming a developer. I would say go for it and do not waste any time, because time is the essence, and that's what makes it or breaks it in your deals, because there's a lot of opportunities out there but not much time. So act on it and don't waste time. Personally, on a personal level, I'd say for you to go and do it. It's that good. Like from where I've come from, it can be a life-changing thing for you. So one thing, advice I can give to you right now is to go ahead and get as much knowledge you can from Massland, because it is priceless. That knowledge is priceless, and if you go and execute your knowledge based on what you've learned, it is going to be life-changing. So go for it. I've completely changed my life. I am financially free. I can do the things in my life that I want now. I've got more time for my family as well.
Today, this is what I'm going to share with you. The secret being, number one, over how 2,500 students already have been through our training and are now capitalising on this strategy to bust open profit. I can share with you too how you can get started in property investment without any of your money on the line. If that sounds too good to be true, settle down. There is work involved. Secret number 2, getting started in property can be very frustrating, overwhelming for some when you don't know what you're doing. I'm sharing with you how to take advantage of my support team to help you navigate the maze of real estate and getting started quickly. I have employees whereby we support you, show you the machinations, how the process works. We hold your hand, but we profit from your deal. I'm very quick to reveal with you. There's nothing from me hiding. I make profit from your deals. You have no money in the transaction whatsoever, none, but you now gain 1, our expertise, 2, our capital, and the support of somebody walking you through the motions. Secret number 3, you might know or have some great real estate deals, perhaps driven past something that you thought might have a higher value set, but just haven't had the cash flow to fund them. And getting a bank loan was simply out of the question, didn't have the capacity or the knowledge to do it. I'll share how I can help take that issue out of your hands, use my capital, and then we both push on and make profit. In the past, I think a lot of us have had false beliefs about the entry into real estate being expensive or complex. And I want to just now debunk those old myths. How you use this proven strategy to get started in property investment and really getting ahead. Option, really it's an option. And this is extremely simple to understand. It's a legal agreement that gives you and I time. We don't want to settle on it. We have no intentions of paying stamp duty or servicing any form of debt here. We are now taking the time that we need in order to execute a development approval or permit if we live in Victoria, Melbourne. The key here is that we're using the time to force value on that asset. Options, the key to real estate is time. And this is not a fad strategy. This is a strategy used by billionaires across the planet. Think of Robert Kiyosaki, Sir John Templeton, James Packard, Donald Trump, just to name a few. I'm now breaking this down so that everyday Australians can access this along with my capital. This is delivered in a robust framework that really gives you the ability not just to understand it, but to execute in the market, with a very refined, informed team that helps and negotiates with you and the vendor. I'll explain more of that as this unfolds. Firstly, here's a property that Donald Trump optioned back in 1999. Trump was on the bones of his butt. He was literally bankrupt. He owed in excess of $1.8 billion to 13 banks. This story here is revealed in his book, The Art of the Deal. This is Lower Manhattan, New York City. Trump approached the vendor and he said to the vendor, if you were open to selling, what would it cost to buy this property? Now, in the council's words, this was an eyesore. It was a derelict building, defunct, full of homeless people and smashed windows. Trump said, what do you think it's worth, sir? The vendor said, look, if I can get $62 million, I'll sell it. Trump, remember, meanwhile, had no money. He was on the verge of bankruptcy. He was essentially broke. He had access to no capital. But he did something incredibly intelligent. Trump said to the vendor, in short words, I'm willing to offer you over and above the market. Forget the $62 million, Mr. Vendor. I'm willing to offer you $70 million for exactly the same property. But I need 24 months to execute a development approval. Now, what has Trump done? He has got the time he requires in order to execute the DA. The vendor, absolutely wrapped. The vendor couldn't sell it. It's at $62 million. No one's got that kind of money in 99, and certainly not Trump. Now the vendor stands to make a lump sum of $70 million in 24 months. Clearly the vendor's impressed. Trump options the deal. He puts together a DA for 611 hotel rooms, on-sells the deal to a hotel group you've probably heard of, the Hyatt hotel chain. Trump sells it, not for $62 million, not for $70 million. It's got an approval now for a hotel. Trump didn't build anything. He didn't put any concrete into it. He didn't settle the property. He paid no stamp duty, no capital gains tax. But he sold it to the Hyatt hotel chain for a staggering $108 million. Do the math. He on-sold an option. He could never be forced to settle on the property. He had no intentions of ever owning it, nor did he even have the capability of taking on a loan of that size or magnitude. Trump just made the profit between $70 million and $108 million. He made a fast $38 million profit in the space of 13 months, which was the time that it took council to approve the DA. That's how it works. We had a vendor/seller. Trump was the option holder. He flicked it onto an ultimate buyer, or what I term a UB, an ultimate buyer called the Hyatt hotel chain. The key here is the value of those ultimate buyers. Today, I have 2,472 corporate ultimate buyers and in excess of 40,000 mum and dad ultimate buyers that are looking for deals, looking for the next small development where they can make $85,000, $140,000 cash on the side of their job. That's an opportunity. Not only do I have the capital available for you to access and I spend my money on the DA approval, but more importantly, I have the exit strategy of that ultimate buyer at the ready. I have an already pre-formed database of buyers hungry for deals that you know of. Case study. Here's a young woman that her husband was never home. He's a senior exec. Unfortunately, that meant he was selling 60, 65 hours a week to a large corporate. She decided to take it upon herself to be a person that brings money into the home. She didn't want us to be a full-time mum. She optioned a property at $550,000. She decides to go ahead and do the development approval. The DA costs and the physical development for Amanda were $857,178. Now, she wants to be the developer. She doesn't just want to short the option, flick it onto my database. She's elected to go ahead and become a full-blooded developer, which may be of interest to you later down the track. The net realisation of the small project was $1,864,318. The profit to Amanda and her husband was $457,140. This was a woman that had no experience in real estate. In fact, they only owned a home with a massive mortgage. Her background to real estate did not exist, and yet now she's got a profit of just over $450,000 net from 5 small house and land packages in the lower end, lower socio-demographic in the affordable housing segment. What would you do with that kind of money? She then put together a small 6-site development, profit $502,000, a little bit more of an upper market. The second secret is how you take advantage and truly utilize my support team to help you navigate the maze of real estate and get you started quickly. At the moment, we've got a market that is continuing to slide down in value. Across the board, across the nation, real estate values are tumbling. This is an opportunistic time where vendors become realistic with their expectations. We don't need to get started in property. We may not necessarily have the experience. Imagine partnering with somebody, you know the deal, they know the process. Here's what you need to know, is that you have access now to some very polished, informed, and as well as sophisticated people that are backing you. Why? Because we make a profit share. You and me are splitting the profits off the back here. The ongoing support, you are never left alone. Why? Because my profits are connected to you. The key here is recognizing it's a team. You and I are a collective. You and I both gain. And I want you to know the key to this is me in the training is ensuring that that is a full end-to-end solution. You understand not just the opportunity, how to physically execute the deals, how to interpret the town plan, what filters we're using, how do we assess the value, how do we know what to offer the vendor over and above the market, where is the profit, the ultimate buyer's mark, what are they looking for, and then I'm bringing you those ultimate buyers' requirements. Every single month, you know what they are wanting, what they are seeking. That email becomes a part of the Massland team. You become entrenched in the Massland family. Secret number 3, how you access my money and start building your own property portfolio. Not only are you just using my money in order to fund the development approvals, yes, it's my capital at risk, you have nothing in the deal. In terms of true partnership, this is how you and I begin. But here's the key. A lot of my past clients are holding real estate out of the deals that they've done. Think for a moment. I don't have to go out there and get a loan mark and pay off a debt over a 25-year window with after-tax dollars. That's madness. That's the crazy system that most traditional investors engage in. You and me, what if there was a way that you and I could literally keep and hold an asset out of the deal that you created? That was your profit share, an asset, not just cash alone. That true joint venture partnership with Massland, well, you are the eyes and the ears on the ground. Your interpretation comes directly from me and what my ultimate buyers are seeking. You are armed with not just the right tools, you know the system, and you have a cashier, you have a team that really understands how to assemble these deals. Do you need to be a key negotiator? Definitely not. My team comes in and literally negotiates the deal with the vendor and you present. That is the true definition of a partnership. I gain, yes. I will not hide the fact that I make profit, but you're also making money, profit, out of a deal with no cash in whatsoever. Your profit share is 35% of all net proceeds, meaning out of $100,000, you keep $35,000 in cash. It's a great return on the training and the tuition fee. Ultimately, you have nothing at stake. You have no money in the deal. The application fee to councils for the DA is my expense. Deposits with the vendor, my expense. Consultants in the form of architects, town planners, structural engineers, civil engineers, hydraulic engineers, traffic reporting, enviro, veg consultants, all those costs are borne by me, by Massland. My interests for you, you've got to succeed. Why? Because my profits are connected to yours. So many of my students have worked through this method over the years. And step one really is the proven system and tools to search for these types of potential deals. Step two, when that contact or that vendor has agreed to discuss the deal, my team dives in with you and negotiates the deal. The process of negotiation, there are three things that my team will isolate with the vendor. When they agree, we're offering them over and above the market in exchange for time. The option's signed, and then we go ahead and do the development approval at my expense. You have no money in the deal. Craig, here's a fellow that was a software developer working for a government department, not on a big salary, no experience or prior experience in real estate. The guy here has made a $60,000 fast profit. And these two examples, I really think, set the tone of how their lives have been transformed, literally through the application of options, but also accessing my team and the negotiation that my team has offered up as well. You'll enjoy this.
So right now, as we sit here right now, I've made $60,000 through property options. The result for me has been very well worth it, and there's a very clear step forward on how to use property options to build wealth. The Massland team have been extremely supportive for me. Mark's team are very knowledgeable, very experienced, and it's a wealth of knowledge that is just sitting there for Massland graduates to tap into, and it's just a phone call away.
You can see there that they've really now changed where they are financially. And you're probably thinking that you need to have a large amount of cash up front to buy a property or to get started. And you'd have to be wrong. The answer is no. There are 15 different strategies that I have used throughout my career and still use to this very day. Property options just being one. It's really the cornerstone, but there are so many different other avenues that really spin off that type of process. The real training isn't just options here either. This is about developing out and getting smart about how you move from survival to affluent. And that's not just real estate, although that becomes the centerpiece. You know, I'm in other asset classes, debentures, derivatives, I'm in IPOs, reverse mergers, precious metals, your diamonds. I'm not just in real estate. That's the machine that produces the larger profit. And I'll also give you 14 other strategies that we use in real estate today. But essentially, this is really a full turnkey solution on how you make money, manage that money, and harvest profits from that capital in the future. Some other three examples of what we use on the way through a DA process. We adjust animals. We get paid $400, $500, $650 a week just to have the adjustment taking place. Project management fees, trading blocks was a great strategy. When I sort of mentioned earlier to you that I made $42,000 in a day, that was trading blocks under option. I never owned them, but I produced a $42,000 windfall in just a day. Nice little way to go. Cameron's used a strategy of trading blocks. This is one, just off 15, but you know, he has really profited heavily. This is a fellow that did a degree, unfortunately couldn't get a job. And he came to my training, you know, a little bit despondent with the whole jobs market, and he really took it upon himself to start making money. And one of the reasons was that he really wanted to help his family get ahead financially. They had struggled and struggled, his parents had really suffered, and there were some medical problems in the family that he wanted to solve. So enjoy this. This really now highlights just the kind of capacity that these strategies really offer. At the end here, you'll see this man is making a staggering amount of money per month out of trading blocks under option where he doesn't own a thing. Enjoy.
$40,000 in a month, which, you know, that was kind of half my wage, really, and I just made that in 1 month. Another goal was 100 grand. Get 100 grand in my account, and then 100 grand a month. So that probably took me about 5-6 months. You know, I was just like every person that watches whatever Mark puts out on the internet, or all these property people talking about education, things like that. I was very skeptical, to the point where I was like, oh, you know, Mark, yeah, righto, let's go along, watch it, see what he says. But $160,000 in a month. So once you get to a point, you want to get to the next level as quick as possible. And if that means you need to spend money to educate yourself, well, you do it.
At this point, you're probably thinking, I'm not really sure that I can make the money with property investing, right? And I really want to get back to these negative, deep-seated beliefs that it doesn't work. The market's not safe. I've got to borrow money. And if you're a traditional thinker, you'd be right in thinking that at this point. But you think about the evolution of a sharing economy. You think of Uber and how it smashed the taxi business. You think of Airbnb and how it smashed the hotel business. You think of options and how it's smashing the old traditional real estate business. And those old myths of the past of massive deposits, 20%, $150,000, $300,000 just to enter the market, after tax dollars of you trying to save money, it's fair to say that they are really of the past. And you and I have got to swap that out. We've really got to move forward. Do I have the skills to get in the property investment game? Really, Mark, do I have what it takes? Well, firstly, I've had single mums with no money that have left a physically abusive marriage with a car parked on the hill because they couldn't afford to repair the starter motor, today worth $3.71 million net, and have completely salvaged the future, if you want to call it that. They've rescued where they are financially. And they've done that through skills and knowledge that they've gained through our training. Yes, I have profited from their deals. They had no money in the transaction, and it's really seen them speed ahead financially. The diverse background of my students, I've had, a large portion of people from the medical fraternity because they're time poor. I've had truck drivers, I've had unemployed, I've had so many bankrupts that have come through. Why? Because they don't qualify for a loan. They want to get started. They want to reboot their finances, but they're too late down the road to borrow money, and they recognize that they firstly don't need to. Secondly, they can access my capital. The solution is here, property options. Getting started in property without the risk to you. You don't need any particular skill set. You don't need 6 degrees. I dropped out of school at 16, became a carpenter, and with a portfolio now spanning nearly 700 investments and nearly knocking on $100 million, I think it's testament that I haven't been an academic, throughout my life. You don't need huge deposits. You don't even need banks. In fact, I'd say get rid of them. The solution is here, property options. Why it works? Simple. Vendors love the concept of taking more for their property than what it's really worth. But in exchange, we're getting the time. We're not sitting here and waiting for the market to increase. In fact, quite the contrary. You and me are forcing value on this thing. We've taken a shitty old house on 2,600 square metres, leave the existing house there, but we've now got a DA for 11 townhouses around that old house, and the site now, collectively, is not worth 1.7 million, it's worth 2.55 million. There's literally a $900,000 profit in between, and we haven't even settled, paid $1 of stamp duty, haven't drawn any loan or form of lending from an institution. That's just smart. And if billionaires are using this across the planet, well then it obviously means that you and I should be too. So I have a question for you. Let me ask you, how many of you are genuinely excited about what we've just discussed, what we've just talked about? How many of you are starting to see or get a bit of a feel for there is a better way or another way to getting started in property without the traditional risk? Who here is really serious about building wealth, becoming affluent, or a property portfolio on the side of your job that gets the results you truly deserve or desire for you and your family? Who here would like my personal help to be able to make sure you do this right, stitch this together once and for all, and solve this money thing? Getting you to a place of understanding it and revealing that there really is a better way. There is a smarter mechanism to move forward in property. Should you wish to view the course, if you want now to change your life, get you to a place where money becomes a part of what you do, I have over 2,500 students, past clients, that have already done this course, are knowledgeable in this area, and are working the method. You know what? Here's what's included to get you started and get you firing. You're going to get the A to Z home study program. That is now literally 15 years of refining this system. The filters where I start, how I look for deals, why they work, where are town plans undervalued, what assets really make sense. You get access to my capital. Now this one here, I don't know what sort of dollar value you put beside this, but somebody is ponying up the money. You get to access my capital. We profit share together. You get a 3-day live advanced property options training bootcamp. That's me delivering 3 days. What I've distilled for a decade and a half of my life, and today has produced an organisation that turns over in excess of 150 million per year. You get full representation by my team. It means they show up on a Tuesday night at the vendor's house across the kitchen table. You don't need to be sitting there nervous, sweating beads. I don't want you to stuff up the deal. I have a trained team, a crack team of negotiators that understand the vendor's needs. You sit there, you listen, you comprehend what's happening, but you have basically, you have put your foot in the right direction of getting deals together. They are bringing their expertise to the table, not necessarily you. The feasibility software, this is complete analytic of where the profits are. I'll train you in this. We're going to spend the best part of half a day, line by line, getting methodical and you understanding where the profits are. This might seem like a fairly comprehensive beginning, but I really want you to understand the engine room of profit. When you've got this, you're off. You know it's just deal after deal after deal. When you've got these fields or you've got these metrics, you know a deal is immediately profitable. That's worth $4,700 to you. That's what it cost me. That's included. All legal documents to complete an option, in fact, they are live documents. You don't get one. There are 3 different types: put call option, and a trade option. Any lawyer will charge you between $4,600 to $7,000 per document. When you register your tuition, you can download those in an unlimited fashion. There is no annual fee, there is no renewal fees, none of that rubbish. You have access to 3 documents that I use every day of my working career. Property Scout. This is a very clever software piece that we created about 4 years ago, and it is now a platform that talks to the town plan. The software talks to the council town plan, and it also connects you and me to the vendor's details of that property. You might live in Western Sydney, Northern Melbourne, you might live in Southern Adelaide. It now makes a connection between what the town plan allows, but also the vendor's details. When they bought it, how much they paid for it, what it's worth, comparable in that suburb, the median valued property in that street, in that region, a 2-kilometre radius. It is brilliant, may I say genius. I'm not a computer tech guy. In fact, technology is almost my enemy. But one of my team developed this platform that does 11 million searches in 2.3 seconds and brings back deals that are already zoned for that use. You might be thinking, Mark, well, if that's the case, why aren't you using this with your own staff? I am. I have trained paid staff that find deals. But my demand for property, development sites and opportunities exceeds my supply. Demand exceeds my supply by 3 times. I have corporate behemoths that today are looking for more development opportunities to park billions of dollars. And that's where you fit into the equation of, I know of an old car yard, Mark. I know of a couple of properties that would make a great 7-Eleven or a great, Foursquare or a really fantastic, small suburban retail outlet or a shopping centre or a small industrial estate. I saw a medical centre that, really could be reworked into a 4-storey building. You know of stuff that I will never have access to. I don't live in your suburb nor your street. Property Scout is worth at least $2,160. 11 webinar strategy sessions, full tutorials, $797. Look, that's worth thousands. They are tutorials where, if you're like me, you've got to hear something 2 or 3 times. You can plug in the comfort of your own home and soak that knowledge in. With that experience, now you know what to do. Project management, from land subdivisions, you'll actually get a full read on how I develop large master planned estates, 300-400 blocks at a time, right through to massive multi-unit developments, hundreds of keys, often into the hundreds of millions of dollars as a project. You'll get that project management insights should you wish to pull the trigger and go ahead and do your own developments. That's worth $1,240. I think it's worth a lot more. The development material, I've got material there that high-end clients, $50,000 is what they pay me per annum, and they seek out my counsel of just how is it, Mark, that you take an option with an approval, you now go ahead and develop that out into the full-scale project. Like you're taking a development profit as well as the option profit at the front. We talk about mezzanine funding, development, and really the how-to, the mechanics of what development really is, how we de-risk projects, how we use MES funding, how we make sure that the development is brought in on time and on budget. With 50,000 clients per annum, you're now getting the skinny on what they're coming for. 28 hours of video training access via an online portal. You download those links, you're in the system. You are entrenched in how this process works. You get a monthly Q&A with me. You can jump online whereby you pitch the questions and I just fire back the answers. There's not a question you could ask that hasn't been asked before. The Facebook community, that is built so fast over time, whereby each week I do an FB Live. You're getting to understand what current opportunities are out there, what's working, how my UBs are seeking deals, where, what type, how. The real specific elements of not just the option, but the specific area, the deal, the location, what type of transaction, because you want the buyer before you want the deal. And I've got the buyers. You bring the property forward. How to lock down assets so they can't be stolen. This is where a lot of my past clients say to me, Mark, how do I do this properly? If I'm going to start keeping property out of these deals, a townhouse, block of land, a unit, an industrial lot, I don't want somebody, after 5-10 years of working, coming along and basically suing me and stealing my assets. I'm going to show you a technique the super rich use in Australia that locks away assets, and it's got nothing to do with trusts. They're pathetic. They're quite diluted. I'm going to show you a strategy the super rich and the ultra wealthy use. Clever. $1,600, which is what a high level forensic accountant would charge you. You're going to learn that too. Support via a 1-800 free call number /email. I pay their salaries. They sit in the building next to me, whereby you have free access to them. You can pick up the phone, flick them an email. Guys, listen, this is what the council said. What do I do here? The total value of the complete property options /development system is $29,597. Now, I don't say this to sound smug. I'm not being cute. But that is cheap considering $150 million today of turnover. And basically now, what is 15 years of my life or my financial career in the making. You have the ability to short circuit that, fast track that, and get it for a whole lot less. I partner with you. The true value of that is essentially 30 grand. There are only 17 places available to my upcoming training. I suggest if you're an action taker, should you want to, you'll need to move. Why? That's only $4,997. If you want to save nearly $1,000, you can pay $4,997 in full and save yourself essentially $1,000. Yes, the cost of that is a tax deduction. Any costs after that become a tax deduction. Any other ancillaries, whether that be pens in your drawer, internet account at home, fuel in the car, talking to council, mobile phone bills per month, become tax deductions that now can be offset against your income. If $4,997 is a little bit hard to reach at this point in time, we can break that down into a payment plan for you. We break that down in such a way, it's $497 deposit today and 11 payments of $497 thereafter. That means you've got a whole year to pay it down. Students or past clients have done deals and have just paid out the balance in full. It's essentially at the end of the year, you've paid $5,964. It's a bit over, it's almost $1,000, sorry, almost $1,000 extra, but maybe that's more suitable. Should you want to do it that way, that might be an advantage for you. Does that mean, Mark, I've got to get creative? Yeah. In my career, I have never sat down and worked to a budget. When it comes to something like an opportunity, even when I was hatching a plan to buy my helicopter, I didn't sit down and say, oh my goodness, how the hell do I afford this? I just said to myself, how do I make this happen? That might mean for you, driving Uber and creating $497 extra per month. That might be an extra, $150 a week working back, or consultancy work online. If you're in IT, going to Airtasker and doing some additional works after the kids go to bed or on the side of your job, Saturday morning when the kids are still in bed, don't know. But I'm not suggesting that we sacrifice anything that goes into the trolley at Coles. I'm saying, how do we create the $497 per month? This is how the rich get ahead. You'll never save your way to a fortune. We all know this. How do we make that additional over and above? And Uber, I just found out the other day, when you're working Uber, you finish the job, you press the button on complete, and the money for that job is immediately transferred to your bank account, which is kind of cool. So if you're looking for more money, then ask yourself how you can create it. Some past successful graduates, this is what's possible. I want you to think, just what is this for you? When you think of money or success, or you think of how you want to get ahead, truly, what effect does that have on you immediately? How does an extra 35 grand, 40 grand, $16,000 as a short option, $28,500 of flicking a deal with somebody in my database, how does that immediately impact your finances? How does that move you forward? Does that liquidate the credit cards? Does that sort of move you closer to where you want to be? Does that zero out your current debts? Have a listen to this young fellow. His name's Glenn. This is how it put him on the map. Enjoy.
I have had quite a negative experience when I was about 22, 23, where I was able to purchase a property, did a reno, lost a lot of money. So I have made a fair amount of mistakes a while ago. That's when I kind of said to myself, it has to be done differently. I have to get educated first and then get back into the property market again. Yeah. So after doing the course, Mark has helped. He helped with the right education and the right tools, I guess. He was able to change my fear into a very powerful, I guess, knowledge. So I bought the property for $390. I did a DA for 6 townhouses, and it's just gone up for sale this week for $519.
Another successful graduate. This guy's John. This guy was a past teacher that was so frustrated with the system of never being able to get ahead financially. Here's a fellow that's made hundreds, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars coming from a teaching background where his income was specifically limited. You'll love this guy.
My first deal I made 220 grand in 7 days. Massland have been great. Like, the education is great. The Massland system works. The Massland team in the office are always there to answer the phone. As a direct impact from Massland, well, right now I'm living in the house that I want to live, doing what I want to do, and I don't have to go back to a wage. That's the hugest thing for me.
Who this works for? This is really for those of us that are tired of working in their businesses, a job, getting nowhere, and are looking for a better way, a solution to create balance/freedom in your life. It's for people who want to quit work or work part-time, make an income, another additional income on the side of your job. You're going to need about 8 to 12 hours a week to bring this together. Yes, it takes work. This is no get-rich-quick scheme. Property takes time. It's energy. And it can be done on the side of a full-time role. That's where 99% of our past clients have started from. It's for people who are just getting started out in property. They need that support, that coaching, somebody holding their hand. How does that work? Well, you're creating wealth for yourself, your family, but I'm also making a profit too. I have a vested interest in seeing you move forward. My profits are connected to yours. Or maybe it's for those that have already got investment property but really need to scale. Or you may think, holy smokes, I've got 2 investment properties, but I'm never going to be able to pay down 940 grand worth of debt. I need some fast lumps of cash. I can do that via options and pay down debt, get the banks away from me, and then enjoy that cash flow that the tenants are paying me each week. Or it's for people who have access to a great real estate deal but don't have the capital to get them off the ground. It's a relevant program because, it allows all of us starting from different unique backgrounds. And that can be bankruptcy. That can be having no money in the bank whatsoever. And let's be clear about this. The vehicle of property options stated works so well. And you've heard from a few of our graduates already. Now, there's hundreds of them more of those. There's 2,000 odd graduates today and 121 financially independent families. I today have created a network where there's hundreds of past clients making anywhere from, say, 30 grand to sort of $300,000 in their first year of transactions. And, by the way, a further 47 millionaires. And I say net wealth. That is not on paper. They are physically worth $1 million or greater when you strip away any form of debt. Why you want to start that? Well, if you don't realise this, the market really is on its knees. You and I are swimming with the current, and recognise straight away that if you and I don't participate, the market, the opportunity, the money's going to be made. There are billions of dollars being taken off the table daily in real estate. How much of that is yours? If not, why not? And quite frankly, if you are not willing to move forward, then property just may not be for you. You know, this is no pitch. I'm reaching out to you in a humble way saying, I can show you. You can access my money and I gain too, as well as you do. And that to me is that's a smart, intelligent way of getting off the ground and moving. If you're concerned it doesn't work, well, you know, to me, I think the proof's in the pudding. And when you think about options and how billionaires have used this globally, it clearly is an edge in real estate. Plus, when you want to invest today, you also receive 14 live coaching calls, the 7 template letters that we use, or contacts as we use, and that's my scripting to engage with the vendor. You use my option documents, my non-disclosures, heads of agreement, JV agreements. You know, you've got $7,000 worth of documentation right there. That is the full suite of documents that I use every single day. You have my negotiation scripting, and may I say, world class. It's not a throwaway term. Remax Real Estate uses my scripting in their onboarding training program of new delegates. That's the kind of experience and background you have access to. You have access to thousands of my ultimate buyers, whether corporate, mum and dad investors, small scale developers, small construction groups, building teams. You have ultimate buyers available to you through my network. I've already got the end game, for you. It's a matter of now moving more deals into that funnel. The monthly mandate, I circulate that to you when you register. You are now getting a read of exactly what my UBs are looking for on a monthly basis. Every 4 weeks, you're across that. You know the suburb. Often you even know the street names. I believe the value in here is immeasurable. Why? Because you've got somebody that's investing in you. And I'm not doing this willy-nilly. I'm doing it for a specific outcome that sees both of us gain and move forward. I'm a commercial person. And I know the robust nature of this system. It's worked for thousands of people before you. What will it cost you if you don't act today? Let's consider for a moment if you continue to, procrastinate any further. Or Mark, I really need to think about that. Where's thinking got us to this point? There is a reason you're online right now. There is a reason that you've hit this T-junction, if you will, in your finances. There's a specific reason that you're reaching out to seeking a solution. You know what? To me, I see this as only one way forward. And when you consider the expense, well, that's now investing in you making further money. You don't need to suffer from mistakes. It's 15 years of hard-learned lessons. And yes, I've lost a fortune. I have lost millions along the way. I want to make that clear. I have no halo, but I have been fortunate enough to win more than I've lost. And those lessons, that scar tissue, really sees you in a better place. It saves you time, it saves you energy. It really gives you the ability to leverage that past experience, but also to get the money that you deserve and put you in a place where you can enjoy the family, enjoy the freedom, move away from a job, not be dependent on a boss or the fear of being downsized, outsourced, or offshored. We can shortcut your journey. There are years of valuable insights condensed into one course/support program, but with ongoing support, with the insights and you not making the errors, mistakes, we can fast track you using the joint venture system. You get the leverage of experience, you get the insight of knowledge. It also puts you on the front foot for deals. So firstly, you can sit there today, do nothing. Don't take that leap of faith, don't progress financially. And I'm not making that wrong. Secondly, you can come up with the investment in property options training and consider the value you'll get in return when you just give it a go. The key here is that we are with you every step of the way. My profit centers are connected to you directly. Remember, it's in our interest to see you through the system and succeed. My profits come off the back of your deals. And what would the end result be worth to you? Is that something that now makes more financial freedom a realistic target? Is that now allowing you to walk away from a job, step out of the business, finally get rid of the boss or those dumb KPIs on a monthly basis? Does it bring you home to the family? Does it allow you to give more to the kids? Does it put you on a boat, a cruise, a ship? Does it put you overseas on a European holiday? Does it put you back in the snow? Does that put you in control of that immediate future. With money solved, so many arrays, so many opportunities really come your way. And money is a beautiful thing. What have you thought about? What are those aspirations? How do we close the gap on that? We take action. We really put now our nose to the wheel and make it happen. Getting started now for just $29,597. That is value at $4,997 for an action taker's price today. Contrary to that, you can pay that down over a year, doing deals along the way. You have access to my full suite of documentation, the deals, the system, the filters, my team, my capital, my money for DAs, my money for options, my money for deposits with vendors, and you've got $497 per month, and that might be comprised of you doing a bit extra work at your current role, maybe some Uber, packing shelves at Woolworths at nights, twice a week, don't know. But how do we make that work? And we'll need to activate that given that there's only 17 places available. What does it cost you if you decided to do it yourself? Well, in time, it's going to cost you around about 4 to 7 years to learn it. That's what it genuinely took me to master it. It's going to cost you a fortune, and I repeat, fortune in lawyers. When I first started in the world of options, and before I really pioneered this space, I was shelling out about $8,500 to $14,000 a month in legal fees. Getting the documents right for all different states across Australia, including New Zealand, to engage with the vendor solicitor. It was a small fortune. The lost opportunities, yeah, I tripped over and made a lot of mistakes. I actually missed out on a ton of deals because I just wasn't savvy enough. I wasn't streetwise. And this is what it's going to cost you if you don't proceed in this format. You know, think about what's at stake here. Oh yeah, Mark, I'll do it myself. Well, good luck with that. You know, and I'm not being smart. I'm not being a smart ass when I say that. I know what that took for me to be able to stitch that knowledge together. You know, if you've done stuff and failed, remember that you want a system, a formula, you know, a proven bankable method that gets you there, and that's this system. 150 million bucks per annum of turnover. Do the math. It's proven, it's robust, it's solid. And how much would it cost? You know, what would it cost in time, money, energy before you really got the taste of success or profit? It could be never ending. I offer up a 100% money back guarantee. I know this machination so well, inside and out, from the engine, the components, from the very the bits in between, right through to banking profits. You know, I sat just with 2 individual clients yesterday, one with a net worth of just over 1.16 million, and with another chap just now nearing 3.3 million. And that to me is just so rewarding. It fills my sails that they pick up the process and they make that kind of money. I just know in my heart of hearts, I throw down 100% money back guarantee. You don't like it for whatever reason, the color of the training manual, the color of my shirt, just ask your money back. This is not about your money. This is about the opportunity you bring to the table. And for you, perhaps the experience, the model, the system, and the capital that I bring to the table. Here's what you're going to get: the A to Z property study system. You get access to my capital for approvals / profits. You get the 3-day live training advanced boot camp with myself personally. You get represented by a Massland team member throughout the negotiation with a vendor. You get my software, complete analytics of $4,700. You get all the legal documents, 3 types to fulfill an option agreement now. Live. When you register, you have access, passwords, logins, you download those indefinitely. You get Property Scout, whereby you can access 11 million different transactions in a 2.3 second window. I have trained staff that do that as well, but when your demand for opportunity and development sites exceeds your supply by 3 times, yeah, you've got a problem, and hence the reason I've gone to market and worked a method out that you bring deals as well. You get 11 webinars and strategy sessions with my team, the project management. That's a whole module in itself, whereby I start to detail to you how we project manage large developments across the country. You may decide to go along and do your own developments later on. The development material I spoke of earlier, this is insights, this is intel, if you want, whereby I'm showing you how I structure development deals, how I mitigate those risks, how I pre-sell a development, whether offshore or onshore, how I'm delivering a product lower than the median price. It's under option. When I develop it, I don't own it, therefore I'm not paying interest to a bank or an institution. I can bring my townhouses, my house and land packages to market cheaper than my closest rival because I don't have interest. I don't own the property throughout that process. It's under option. I only control it. And these are what $50,000 clients are paying me for. You get that intel. 28 hours of video training via our links. You get a monthly Q&A with me. You get FB Live every single month. You lock down assets whereby a forensic accountant, I'm giving you basically the structuring and the specific methods, the contacts of the people that you may want to seek out that have helped me establish a portfolio. Now it's knocking on 100 million bucks. How I've secured that I don't put my ladder against a wall only to find out 20 years time that I get sued and someone steals it all. It's impossible. And support via a 1-800 free call number / email. The total value of that sitting at $30,000 or $29,500 to be precise. If you pay in full, you also receive how to own 10 properties in 10 years debt-free. The secrets of my property millionaires, where our clientele have built a portfolio over time. And I'm going to say debt-free, I mean they own them outright, liquid, with no mortgage, and they're collecting the rental income like I've done so many times in the past. That set is worth $495. I know that will now put you in a position where you're taking your profits out of option deals and starting to cultivate further profits from growing assets, whereby your net wealth is not measured by the time you're selling. We've got other assets in the background growing in value, burning away 24 hours a day with a tenant paying down the debt. And that's very clever. How we liquidate that debt, how we do it in a 10-year window of time. Very smart, and literally how hundreds of past clients have done that. I just spoke to a lady 3 days ago that's on her 19th property. And in her mid-50s, she's done really well with our consultation, with our counsel, and with our direction. You get a free ticket to the boot camp, bring along a business partner if you wish to pay in full, the total value being $3,795. They're thrown in today as over and above bonuses, should you wish to proceed now. If you get started, it's $29,597 worth of value. For action takers price, it's only $4,997, including the process of owning 10 properties in a 10-year window and bringing along somebody else for free. That could be your brother-in-law, your son, daughter, mate, colleague from work, past neighbor. As long as you know that person, you get to bring along somebody for free when you pay in full of $4,997. That's 2 people for the price of 1. Why would you do that, Mark? Why would you be so generous? Why would you be so noble? Well, simple. Think about it. I'm a commercial guy. That means I've got 2 sets of eyes looking for deals, not just 1. And yes, you have 2 separate logins, 2 separate lots of passwords, you have 2 separate lots of option documents, you have 2 separate access points. You get 2 of everything when you pay in full today of $4,997. If you want a payment plan, well then it's $497 over 12 months. Tax deductions, obviously, keep everything, and then you benefit from what the tax department gives you back. So this is your call to action. Should you want to leverage my capital, bring your deals or further opportunities to the table, this allows you to profit from the method and the system that we've developed. And I really look forward to working with you. This is your call to action. This is the time where you and I get to make money together and enjoy profit on your side of the ledger that you don't have any capital at stake. Can't wait to see you on one of my upcoming trainings, and bye for now.